this is Peak Entertainment and we're back again, and here now we have another video for you, and we're going to quickly talk about Furiosa, a Mad Max Saga, its opening weekend of release within cinemas, covering the period of Friday the 24th of May to Monday the 28th of May 2024, and look at the numbers and ask as to whether the reaction to those numbers has been over the top or not. So when we look at the movie itself, which was overall the 5th installment within the Mad Max franchise, following Mad Max Fury Road in 2015, it was a prequel story following that same character, starring Anna Taylor-Joy in a lead role alongside Chris Hemsworth. And when we look at the numbers for the movie, unfortunately they're not that very good. Within US cinemas, within its 3-day weekend, the movie grossed just over $25.5 million. When adding in Monday's figures, the film is projected to make around 31 to 33 million over the 4-day Memorial Day weekend. It essentially tied the #1 spot with Garfield, the movie. Internationally, the movie has grossed around 33 million for an overall global tally of around 65 to 66 million dollars. So there's been so much, it seems, of a post-mortem analysis over Furiosa, especially how its US performance, where it had the distinction of being the lowest ever Memorial box office weekend ever since the release of Casper the movie back in 1995. All over the media, the headlines and reaction are stating how this is the end of theatrical releases, how the entity of streaming is forever present, with releases such as The Fall Guy, which went to digital release after only 2 weeks from its theatrical opening. Did Furiosa underperform because of audience fatigue of big event films? Are cinema costs too high for audiences to attend these movies? Is the overall reliance of IP or franchise instead of original material another reason? And does this mean, again, the end of the theatrical experience in a modern day era? Now, to an extent, I do think there has been an overreaction. Now, yes, a movie with a budget of around 168 million, with these opening figures, is not a good sight at all. And it's very unlikely that Furiosa will end up being profitable. But when we look at the project itself, are we really surprised by these numbers? The movie itself, which was a prequel story, as I mentioned before, to Fury Road back in 2015, that film did gain a lot of critical and audience acclaim, but itself wasn't a massive blockbuster, only grossing around $380 million worldwide. Now, whilst it was favoured upon release, the movie itself didn't have the same lasting cult status that certainly we saw with the first 2 Mad Max installments. So there really wasn't a lot of hype or demand for this story to be told. We then look at the biggest fallacy within this entire project in the fact that you are calling it a Mad Max Saga, yet you don't have the lead character of the franchise involved. And that decision just didn't make sense any way you look at it, and is another example of the studio trying to apply an IP branding mindset where it's not applicable. The fact is that Mad Max has always been much more of a cult property that's defined by the lead character. It's not an ensemble franchise like what we saw with the likes of, say, Star Trek or the Twilight series. So if you don't have the lead character involved, then why exactly would fans watch the movie? Now, people will say that Furiosa was very well liked in Fury Road, which is true, but that was because the character was played by Charlize Theron. But is Charlize Theron in this movie? No, she's not. So again, why would fans turn up to watch this film? Now, actress Anna Taylor-Joy has had some critical reception for her roles, such as the Netflix series The Queen's Gambit and also the Viking saga, The Northman, but as of yet, she's not really as prolific an actress as Charlize Theron, and she's not really a big enough star to certainly headline a big event film such as this. Now, yes, the movie did have Chris Hemsworth, somebody who is very prolific and well known, but despite all of that, he still has yet to prove that he can sell a movie entirely on his own outside of the Thor franchise. We also have to consider that Furiosa is an R-rated film, very much a dark, evil, violent, post-apocalyptic story, hardly a 4-quadrant blockbuster to appeal to mainstream audiences. Now, yes, aesthetically, everything looked eye-catching to the casual viewer in terms of the trailers, but if we really think about it, the movie basically looked like a rerun of Fury Road, so there was far less surprise or novelty for a movie like this time around. And did we really need to see a prequel story about Furiosa? Could we have not had a forward story continuing the iteration played by Charlize Theron? If you were that determined to centre on Furiosa as the main character, why didn't you just simply pay Charlize Theron a higher grade of salary to have her return? Now, I'm not saying that Charlize Theron starring in the sequel would have definitely guaranteed a $100 million opening weekend, but it certainly, I feel, would have garnered a lot more excitement and anticipation, especially of fans of Charlize Theron from the Fury Road movie. So when you consider all of these factors, it's really not that surprising that Furiosa didn't open as big as what people were certainly expecting it to be. And should we really be holding Furiosa as the indicator for how the box office will be for 2024? When looking at the year in the beginning, it was really movies such as Deadpool vs Wolverine or The Joker 2, Inside Out 2, and maybe Dune Part 2 as well. These were the projects that were really seen as the big event films for the overall year. And to be fair, we have had some successes this year. Dune Part 2 itself grossed over $700 million worldwide. Godzilla x Kong, The New Empire has nearly hit $600 million worldwide. And whilst those movies weren't great films, they have ultimately been successful this year. So all I would say here is, despite this low underperformance from Furiosa, I think we should wait and see later on down the year before reclaiming the current state of cinema in terms of event films. Now, if we see this same underperformance with both the likes of The Joker 2 and Deadpool vs Wolverine, then I think we can have much more of an extended discussion. And make no mistake here, all of the conversations surrounding streaming releases, the costs of cinema, and whether the quality of movies are good or not are still very valid debates, and we should continue to have those discussions as we see movies released later on this year. But at this point, I really don't think that the underperformance of Furiosa is really a pivotal point as to whether cinema is truly at a lower point or not within this year. I think overall we need to wait and see in the future of what goes on. And I think overall the film's performance is a lesson for the studios to really have a long hard think about the projects that they're releasing. Don't just go by the brand's name itself. Make sure you also consider how the previous installment performed, and make sure that you do consider what the best elements of the previous installment were before going ahead with a future prequel or sequel overall. So there's my overall thoughts and feelings on the recent performance at the box office of Furiosa and Mad Max Saga. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and if you have any other movies, television series or pop entertainment and culture issues that you'd like to see me cover within the channel, then also let me know in the comments, and I will see if I can provide further commentary for you on that subject matter within the future. Please consider hitting like the subscription and notification buttons so I can provide you with more high quality content like this in the future. But that's it for now. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you very, very soon.